Welcome to another episode of the Victors Nation podcast. I am your host, Jason. My peeps, Derek and Dre fame. We're back to work, boys. Conference play starts this week, and we got our first stripeout game as well, too. Go Blue.
Go Blue.
Go Blue.
Go Blue. So, finished non-conference play. And Michigan's kind of in an unfortunate situation. We knew this last year when the schedule came out. We knew that the schedule was going to be more of a gauntlet than what previous schedules had been. And I think one of the things that all of us biased Michigan fans that were riding on a high probably did not expect was the fact that there was still going to be several kinks that needed to be worked out with the new coaching staff, with a lot of new players stepping into starting roles for the first time, and not having an easy schedule to work some of those kinks out. What I mean by that is landing Texas and USC in the first 4 weeks of the season. That's not a kind schedule. And nothing for us to complain about, because USC landed LSU and us in the first 4 weeks of the season, first 3 games of the season, because they're coming off of a bye. But still a tough start to the season when we're turning over what we turned over. And I think we got a reality check through non-conference play a little bit with what we saw and some of the challenges that we saw with the offense and some of the challenges we saw in the secondary with the defense. So, hey, we're still defending national champs. We're still defending 3 straight Big Ten champs, and there's still a whole lot of football ahead of us. But let's catch up. Let's catch up on what we saw against Arkansas State, and really what, from my perspective, and in my opinion, there was a lot of good to take away from that game, and the good that we can take away is overshadowed by a couple of turnovers, and the game was a little bit more out of reach than what the final score said, because Arkansas State finished the game off with a couple of garbage time touchdowns against guys that probably won't see the field in most competitive games. And that's fine, because they're getting reps in. That's how they get game experience. That's how they get stuff on film to be able to correct and challenge themselves to develop. But I don't know about you guys, but I liked what I saw out of our running game. I'd like to see a little bit more out of our offensive line, but Khalil Mullins is a stud. Khalil Mullins is an absolute stud. That guy had 153 yards rushing, I think. Let me.
You're correct. You're correct.
153 yards rushing. And here's the impressive part, right? And this is where I say I'd like to see a little bit more out of the offensive line. Is I think it was like 133 yards was after contact, right? Which means that almost all of his yards he went and got. And so that means he had 15 carries. And so that tells me that out of his 15 carries, he was barely averaging 1 yard before first contact. I'd like to see the offensive line create a little more space and allow Mullins and allow Edwards to get a little more room to run before they're the ones that have to start making people miss and breaking tackles. But I thought that looked great. I thought that the ones on defense, run defense, looked really strong. Our interior defensive line looked really strong. First drive, we gave up some third down conversions again, but then we corrected it, and our defense played pretty well until it was time to get some of the third and fourth stringers in the game, and that's where we saw a couple drives at the end of the game out of Arkansas State. So the big black eye on this game, right? The thing that had people in a hissy within the Michigan fan base, which happens when we're as passionate as we are, was the 3 interceptions that were thrown, and we saw the switch during the game to Alex Orji, which we now know is going to be the starting quarterback moving forward. But Brett, run the damn ball. Mullins needs more touches. He's too aggressive and too fast to come off the bench. I agree wholeheartedly with that statement. I agree wholeheartedly that, in my opinion, I think that if he can run between the tackles and soften up the defense and beat up the defense, and Donovan Edwards can hit the home runs, that's what Michigan needs. I think that opens up the game for both of them. But curious to hear your guys' takeaways from the Arkansas State game, and then we'll get into our takeaways from the non-conference season in general. But Jason, let's start with you, just talking about your thoughts and opinions coming out of the Arkansas State game.
Yeah, so kind of allude to what you're talking about. Like, love the running game. Love what we had to offer right there. Mullins, his ability to see the field, make cuts, break tackles. Like, he needs to get in the game a little bit earlier. Like, he has to. Like, that's our guy right now. He's the hot hand. Edwards is going to get his for sure, but we had 3 rushing touchdowns now. It was our first rushing touchdown all year, right? And that was the first time in like a 3 games to start the season increment that we didn't have a rushing touchdown before last week since like 1945.
Really?
Crazy to think about. It's crazy to think about. Because that's our bread and butter, right? Be able to control the game, which we're not really able to do right now. But 3 rushing touchdowns week 3, we saw some promise, and we saw some garbage time as well too. The passing, so the quarterback play, that's gotta improve. We gotta be able to throw the ball down the field at some point. I mean, it's almost showing that we just don't have confidence in these quarterbacks. Protect the ball, but at least give them a shot to throw the ball downfield. I know the receivers have to make plays as well too, but it can't be just running the ball. Can't be just running the ball all the time and like these short crossing routes or to the flat. Like, let's start getting a little bit creative as well too. But out of a running game in the first half, I loved it. We're up 21-3. Second half was somewhat rough. It's a little rough. But overall, running game was basically what I was impressed with. And the O-line obviously still needs a little bit of work as well too. But we had some throws that it was forced, bad decision making. Love Davis Warren, love his story. It's just he had a rough game. It is what it is.
Yeah, I think he's made some plays, right? And the foundation of Michigan football is don't make mistakes, right? The foundation is to throw body shots and to be okay when you have to punt and play the field position game. But the biggest thing that you can't do, and this was a thing that Jim Harbaugh brought to Michigan, and frankly, he brought it to Stanford, he brought it to San Francisco before Michigan, and he brought it to the Chargers now. Right? It's protect the football, play disciplined football, don't make mistakes, don't shoot yourself in the foot, and wear the other team out, right? And that means don't turn the football over. And Davis Warren, unfortunately, through 3 games, has more interceptions that he's thrown than what JJ threw all season last year, right? And that's not the recipe that's going to win football. And that doesn't mean that we can't support Davis Warren, right? That doesn't mean that we can't be massive fans of him, because we are, right? But that's just the standard at Michigan is not to turn the ball over. And so even with all the arm talent in the world, right? Sure, if you have a gunslinger, maybe you can get away with some turnovers, right? Because you're also getting big plays over the top that go along with it, but we're not getting that, right? We were getting turnovers without the big plays, and so I agree. That's something that certainly has to improve at some capacity, and we'll talk about the Orji experience coming up here pretty soon. So we'll talk about maybe what that's going to bring to the passing game. But Dre, curious to hear your thoughts and your insight coming out of the Arkansas State game.
To be honest, I think a lot of them picks wasn't on Davis Warren. So one of them picks, I think Donovan missed a block. he should have threw the ball away or took the sack, to be honest. You know what I'm saying? But one of the picks, I think he was trying to throw it away. I just think he didn't have the angle to throw it out of bounds. And you know what I'm saying? And I think the first one he just slipped. Amari Walker just slipped. So take that away. I think we'll be talking about a whole different ball game. I don't even think we'll be um discussing the quarterback switch. But now that we had those 3 turnovers in the mix, we have to go with something else. That's 6 turnovers and with 6 interceptions in 3 games. And that ain't the way we're gonna win. So I mean, I respect Davis Warren in his story, and you know what I'm saying, and everything else, and what he overcame. That's my guy. Y'all know that. You know, me and Davis, we got a real special bond because he did some things for me behind the scenes that I will never forget. So um that's my guy. You know, he held a special place in my heart. I'm kind of getting choked up even thinking about it. I'm sorry, but um if we don't have those 3 turnovers, it's a different game. Now we do. So now we get Alex Orji in. Now I think that'll be a bigger spark. We'll talk about that later. But when he came in, he played solid. He had one ball that he threw downfield that I thought Frederick Moore kind of slowed down on it. I don't think he was. Maybe it's me. I don't think he was expecting to get the ball.
No,
Maybe
you're right. You're right. So Orji was a little bit, I think, off target. I mean, he's got arm strength for sure.
Yeah, for sure,
I don't
for
want to say
sure.
Joe Milton or
But
anything like that. But yeah,
I'm
he
not gonna
stopped
say he
running
was
his
off
route.
target on that pass. I think he that ball was right in front of him. I think if he would have
Yeah,
kept sprinting like
Frederick
he
Moore.
was,
Frederick Moore. Yeah, he didn't fully run the route.
yeah. So you know what I'm saying. I think if he would have caught that, we'll be talking about Alex Orji different. But
Yep.
with the running game, Khalil is killing it. I'm sorry, I can't take running back one from Donovan, man. He earned it. Um, I mean, yeah, I mean, it's gonna have to be the Blake and Dono system like how we had a couple years ago. That worked for us then, so I don't see why it can't work for us now. Yes, he does need to step it up. You know what I'm saying? He can't just be a home run hitter. He does have to run through the tackles and pick up yards for us. Not saying he doesn't, but he don't do it as consistent as people wants to see. But I think that was his best game this whole season. Last game, I don't think. I mean, I like I said, I don't know if it was them getting used to everything. You know what I'm saying? So, I think we're gonna see more better play from Donovan moving forward. That's just my opinion.
Yep.
Our receivers, no, I don't understand. We gotta get some more separation, and maybe it's play calling. I don't know. I don't know. Like I said, I'm not a football player and I'm not in the minds of them, so I can't tell you how they're thinking. But it just seemed like they don't have no confidence in Davis to get him the ball, so they not like running like how they supposed to run. Like if a JJ was out there, that's just my opinion. You know what I'm saying? Don't get me wrong. You know, I could be totally wrong, but it's just my opinion. Me looking in. I think Mr. Loveland is our best weapon on offense. In the passing game. It's a lot of things that I took from the game. I could be sitting here talking for the whole pod about what I took from the game, but in all, our defense we need to make tackles. They was controlling the game for the most part. They was controlling the game for the most part until they put in the backups for the garbage time because we thought we had the game in hand. But other than that, I feel like our defense gonna come along. And Wink and everybody getting on Wink, man. I feel like, man, he ain't used to coaching in college. Like he been coaching in the NFL is totally different. Yeah, you know what I'm saying. NFL is pros, but in the NFL don't make schemes how college, you know what I'm saying, make schemes. You know what I mean? Like with all the stuff that tricks and the trades that the college do. So I don't think we're gonna get it together. But for all in all, I think we played a good game. Just besides those 3 turnovers, and that's why we having a quarterback change.
Right. And you know, those 3 turnovers, right? So you're not wrong, Dre. I don't completely disagree with the fact that it's not all on Davis Warren. And you know, if you're talking about the type of guy and the type of character that Davis Warren has, you know, what can show character more than you get pulled and the guy that comes in for you throws a touchdown pass and you're the first one to greet him and give him a hug, right? Like you become the biggest fan of everyone on the field from the sideline. Like that's that tells you about character. We had a quarterback not too long ago that lost the starting job to another quarterback and did not carry himself with that type of leadership and that type of exposure, right? So and we might not be done with Davis Warren for this year, right? But you know, talking about Donovan Edwards, I agree. I thought that he was running the ball well. The one drive that he had, I think in the second quarter, that was his best drive all year. He was running good. He was running hard. His vision looked good. I thought that from a coaching perspective, I thought they made some good adjustments where they were calling plays for Donovan. I think that he does best when he gets to make one read and then cut and go. I think that he's in the best position when it's one read, one cut, go. Right, where Mullins is a little bit more of what Hassan Haskin was, where it's a little more patient and it's not explosive, but it's productive, and then it's explosive when it needs to be. Surprisingly, that's what Blake Corum turned into, was that running back that was very patient during the run, and it didn't look explosive, but it would get 5 yards pretty consistently, right? And then he'd explode when it needs to, right? That's not the strength of Donovan Edwards. His strength is let me make a read and then let me explode. And I might get 3 yards and I might get 3 yards.
In my opinion, I think they need to stop running him up the middle. I think they need to put him out on like some pitches and some
certainly
sweeps do. And like he needs to get in motion before he hit the hole, because I don't like him running up the middle as much. That ain't his thing. Like, you know what I'm saying? You can tell from how he run it. Maybe that's just me, you know what I'm saying? But I think he, like I said, pitches and sweeps and them type of runs, you know what I mean? For him to, you know what I'm saying?
I agree. I mean, it would give him that open field, that vision as well too. Yeah,
and then let Khalil hit the middle, you know what I mean? And that'd be his thing. So Khalil could be I feel like Khalil is our bruiser back and Donovan is the finesse back. And they just not using they're not using him. Yeah, they not using him how they supposed to do in the finesse game. You know what I'm saying? They trying to make him the power back too, and that ain't how it's gonna work for Donovan.
Right. I agree. They need to get him in space. They need to get him in a position where he can be the athlete that he is. And you know, regardless of who plays the first snap, right? Regardless who's technically RB1 or RB2, I think that needs to become more of a thunder and lightning combo. When we played Texas, Khalil Mullins didn't get his first touch till halfway through the second quarter, and that just can't happen. Right?
Exactly.
When you have somebody that can throw the body shots, we got to get those body shots thrown early. We're talking about Frederick Moore, though. You talked about the play that Orji missed the pass on, right? The incompletion. I shouldn't say that Orji missed it, because I actually thought it was a good pass. So you were exactly right.
I mean, it was. That's what I'm saying. I thought it was one of his best passes I've seen.
Yeah, he was. It was a good ball, and what we're seeing, I think, is some youth out of our receiving core that we haven't seen in a little bit. If you think back to the receivers that we've had for the last few years, thinking back to Nico Collins, to Ronnie Bell, to Cornelius Johnson, to Roman Wilson, those guys were veteran savvy receivers by the time they were really making an impact on the team and by the time they were on the field. And so,
but
Frederick Moore,
didn't they play more before it was their time though?
They did, but
I feel like
They
these
did,
guys
but they
ain't
made
really
mistakes
played
too.
that much.
Right,
Yeah,
exactly.
for sure. I feel like with more time, I don't know, they're a regret because they're not bad receivers. It's just they're non-experienced, and that not non-experience is showing. You know what I'm saying? Like with Samaj, he doing this thing out there, you know what I'm saying, and coasting. But like the other, we need Tyler to step up. We need Frederick Moore to step up. Like these is big weapons, you know what I'm saying? And for us to move forward, y'all gotta come on. You know what I'm saying? Y'all gotta come on with it. Maybe it's play calling, because last year I feel like they was more creative. I don't know who was calling the plays on offense last year, but they got to get back to it. Get back to being more creative. Get back to more, you know what I'm saying, motions and this and trick. I mean, maybe even bring out the trick play. But we like, come on, man, we got to get it together. This is not us, and the whole country is looking at us crazy right now, and I don't like it.
Agreed. Agreed. It
Yeah,
was Sharon Moore.
I think that's
Sharon Moore
just
is calling plays.
co-offensive coordinator, but like
Well, I mean, if that's the case,
I
he
know
needs to get back to it, like, or something, man. Because like we don't have an identity. You can't. None of y'all can tell me right now what is our identity. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's running the ball. Like we all know that, but what is our identity this year? And it is not running. I mean, we just don't know. We don't know.
We don't. And I think there's
I feel
a lot.
like the coaching staff's applying too much on our defense. They want to, you know what I'm saying, even though our defense was this, and I mean, we strong on defense. I think that they came in, so you know what I'm saying, worried about our defense more than our offense. Like, yeah, our defense gonna pull it out for us. And I don't think, to be honest, one more thing. I'm sorry to cut y'all off, but I don't think Davis Warren or Alex Orji was supposed to be the starter from the beginning. I think it was supposed to be Tuttle. But he just got hurt. You know what I'm saying? So hopefully he can get back and let's see what he got. And if he healthy, man, throw him in for it, man. We don't got nothing to lose. Like we playing with house money at this point, man. We might as well, I mean, even though we lost one game and our season ain't over, we could still get in the Big Ten championship in our season. Like we still control our destiny, but like we got to get a grip on things, man. And like right now, because it ain't the schedule not getting easier at all.
It's not. I mean, no one wants to sit at home watching the TV. Michigan's not on during the 12-team college football playoff. Like, I know we're Michigan men. They're gonna get to work for sure. It's just like it's a lot of things to fix. It's early. There's a lot of new pieces, players, coaching staff. But regarding the coaching staff, it's just we're not used to seeing this as a fan base the last 3 years, right? We're not seeing discipline. Penalties are freaking killing our progress to control this game right now. Penalties are killing us. Take care of the damn ball. There's too many turnovers. Communication is off here and there as well, too, on both sides of the ball. And it just, for me, there's no balance right now with coaching and execution. The coaching, so Dre, you talked about it. Coaching, they have to start getting creative on both sides of the ball. And as far as the passing game goes, we have to throw the damn ball down the field. We have to do it. It's too predictable. We have these short routes. We have these check downs. We have this run up the middle. Like, we have to take risks at this point. Like I said, I know it's early in the season, and we're getting to work, but offensive line needs to improve as well too, as long as some other position groups. But we need more game time experience with this group. I get that, and specific talent. We need to see specific talent in specific positions, but damn, I want to see Michigan football. Yeah. I want to see fire this week.
And we don't need to be
and another
thing, we don't need to be I don't care about garbage time right now. We don't need to be putting no backups in, man. I'm sorry. Y'all, that ain't y'all time yet, man. We need I know that how to develop depth, but we need to make sure our starters is right first before we just be putting backups and stuff in.
I agree. I mean, it almost feels like the coaching staff, it's like we're pretending like we had all this talent the last 3 years. It's like we don't. We have the talent. We have impact players. They may not be utilized in certain schemes.
We just
but like it has to change. Yeah, it's we gotta take risks right now, and something's gotta change because it's too predictable right now. And like I said, this group needs more real life game time experience, right? But I want to see Michigan football. Show me the fire this week. Lay someone out. By the way, props to McBurrows last week for that hit. Loved it. Slammed a beer right after that. It was amazing.
Hey,
But
hold on.
get the
One
crowd.
time.
Let's get this crowd into this too.
Yeah, for sure. A crowd definitely got to be into it. But Zach, no, I feel like Will, he looked the same. Will still the shutdown corner. They just not testing him. They just not testing him as much. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, people getting plays on him here and there, but you got to really check the stats who own him all game, and they really not doing too much. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, it ain't you really can't really have no highlights if they ain't throwing your way.
So I think there's a little bit of that goes both ways. Bouncing around a little bit, right? So Texas stayed away from him, no doubt. Texas brought a great game plan. Texas beat us, and we beat ourselves against Texas. The disparity,
no doubt.
If we play that game, Texas might be the better team, right? But the disparity that we saw on the field, it's somewhere in between there, because we beat ourselves a lot just as much as Texas beat us. But they came in with a great game plan. When Kenneth Grant,
for sure,
when Mason Graham and Kenneth Grant were on the field, they hit the edges. When they came off the field, they ran the ball, and they stayed away from Will Johnson, and they challenged everyone else. They challenged our linebackers in coverage, they challenged our safeties in coverage, and they challenged Jair Hill in space. They had a fantastic game plan, and they were one step ahead of Wink on third downs all day long, right? So I think that we made some mistakes that
goes back to him. I think just getting used to used to everything. That's just
yep. It absolutely is. But Will Johnson did. I'm looking at some stats from what Zach's talking about here, just from this past week. He was targeted 9 times by Arkansas State, and that resulted in 6 catches for 54 yards. Right. So now a lot of that was underneath, but still, Will needs to be shut down coming into this week, right? You'd like to see him.
I didn't know my man had that many yards. I thought he had 34. That's my bad, Zach.
Yeah,
my bad. For real.
So that they are. So he's kind of right, but it was kind of soft coverages, and sometimes Will's in man coverage, and I swear to God that for some reason when teams play Michigan, receivers that aren't that good somehow make unbelievable catches against man coverage against Michigan.
Throwing 50 yards down the field like the Bowling Green.
They need to treat Will like they do Revis. Like he followed the best person, the best receiver out there, no matter what y'all in.
He's been a little bit. He's been playing a little bit all over and matching up. But I want to tie back to offense before we dive into defense too much. A couple of things that I wanted to touch on that you guys were talking about. Frederick Moore, we're going to see more and more of him. So he's a young receiver, and there's a couple of very coachable things that he's done. All right. So if you think back to the interception against Fresno State, the great receivers, when they're underthrown, they adjust their pace of the route, and they go and they high point the ball, right? He kept going and let the defender undercut him and catch the ball instead of slowing down and high pointing the ball, and if nothing else, boxing out the defender, right? Going up and getting like a rebound,
knocking it down or something.
Right.
Like you can't let you can't let that happen.
And so that's just a young person mistake, right? That's a young receiver mistake. And same thing here, right? He probably didn't think that he might not have been the primary receiver, and Orji maybe read that he had an open shot deep,
a step or two,
and he came,
for sure.
And he came out of that break jogging, where if he comes out of that break full speed once he's open, that ball's probably on the money.
That's a catch,
right? So I think it's just with the youth that we have in receiver, because Tyler Morris was out this week, right? So he wasn't on the field, but Frederick Moore actually graded out really strong at receiver. So if you look at
he has some good plays. That's what I'm saying. Like he gonna be our man. I think he gonna be the guy, to be honest. And I don't disrespect Tyler Morris at all. because Tyler Moore is my guy. But I think he is a better receiver. I think he is number one. It needs to be him, Samaj, and Tyler. Like, they need to keep him on the field. Like, I don't understand. Like, whoa, I think against Texas, he had like two snaps. Like, let that man play. Like, let him play.
So and
Put our
here's
horses
another
out
reason,
there, man. What do we got to lose?
Absolutely. And here's another reason why I think we're going to see a lot more of Frederick Moore. So he was our best run blocker on the entire team. He was the best run blocker on the field for doing his assignment. So that's key. That's why Cornelius Johnson was on the field more than any other receiver the last 2 years, was because he was a run blocker and he was blocking in the run game. So that's good to see. And our receivers have been stepping up in the blocking, and that's where our offensive line actually needs to step up. I'm pretty sure that our best run blockers were Frederick Moore, Peyton O'Leary, Marlon Klein, and Max Bredesen. Those were our best run blockers as far as how they graded out. Now, granted, receivers are blocking corners and safeties. Offensive linemen are blocking defensive linemen and linebackers, right? But that tells you that, maybe there's a little more that we can see out of our offensive line. And now I want to touch on why I think there's been some communication errors, because this is very uncharacteristic of Michigan. Michigan's football team last year was so good, so disciplined. It was hard to find drives where they were making mistakes. This year, it's hard to find a drive where there's not some sort of mistake that they're making, where there's not some sort of mental mistake or a missed assignment that's taking place. And I don't have any proof of this, but as someone that played a lot of football and spent my entire life around a lot of live football, I think one of the challenges is the fact that there's two different offenses, one for Alex Orji and one for Davis Warren. I think that we run a different offense in a different system with Alex Orji because of what he brings to the table. And that as there's a quarterback competition, those guys are spending half of their time playing that offense, right? With a running quarterback and a lot of read options. And then the other half of the time they're playing with Davis Warren. And so that's a pocket passer type offense where the run scheme doesn't have the threat of the quarterback run, like what Davis Warren does. So I think part of what we're seeing is maybe an unexpected, unintended byproduct of the quarterback competition that we had this year, where it's not two guys that are similar quarterbacks with the way that they play the game. So the offensive line has different assignments there. So
let me ask y'all both this though. Oh, go ahead, Derek.
Nope, go ahead. You go ahead, Dre.
Now, if Alex don't work, right? Hopefully he do. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying I don't wish this but who do we go to after that? What is our plan after that? You know what I mean? Like, if he come in and say he have a couple picks like Warren, or have a performance like Warren, like, do he keep the starting job or do we go somewhere else?
See, that's a good question. That would be the conundrum. That's the conundrum that we hope we don't run into, because it sounds like Tuttle is still recovering from his elbow injury, and still not really throwing enough to get a crack at it. I don't know what level of truth there is to this, but I did hear rumors that there was some sort of agreement between Michigan and Jaden Davis's family for him to redshirt this year, for him to be able to learn the face of the college game and bulk up a little bit.
I've been hearing the game. Yeah, I'm about to say I heard the same thing, but I heard it was to gain weight.
Yeah,
gain
so
20 pounds or something like that, maybe.
Yeah. So and if you think back, right, JJ benefited, and JJ was JJ was probably, and I'm saying this with even Tom Brady mixed in. In my lifetime, JJ was probably the best quarterback at Michigan, right? Because Tom Brady was splitting time there, and he developed into a great NFL quarterback. But JJ was probably the best quarterback at Michigan, and even he benefited from the fact that he really primarily got to sit as a true freshman and just had some drives that he rotated in and some series that he played. But if you think back to 2017, the year with John O'Korn and Brandon Peters, what we were in a tough quarterback situation where we really struggled to have a decent starting quarterback.
But even with
we
John
played,
O'Corn, I don't think we was this stagnant at the quarterback position. I think John O'Corn, if we had John O'Corn right now, I'm sorry to say, I think we'd be straight. I ain't even gonna lie to you. Like it's as crazy as that sounds.
Yeah.
I think we will be straight right now with John O'Corn, bro. And that ain't even being disrespectful to nobody.
I think that the difference is that the rest of the team, the offensive line, the defensive mistakes. I think that the team with in the image of Jim Harbaugh, that team was still very, very disciplined and showed some of the discipline that we're uncharacteristically not seeing this year. So it kind of protected the lack of skill at the quarterback position in 2017, but hopefully we don't run into that. Hopefully hopefully Orji can step up, and I'm excited to see what the offense
think he will.
looks like.
I just wanted to hear what you thought about it. That's
all. I think if that's the case, that as Michigan fans, we just, we got to buckle up and understand that we're in a rebuilding year, and think back to what got us here too, right? Think back to the fact that from a recruiting perspective, 2 years ago, we went all in on Dante Moore and missed, right? So we went all in on a top quarterback and missed, and then we went all in on Jaden Davis and landed him. Now he's a true freshman, but that meant that we had a gap. Right. And then you mix in the fact that the NCAA and Big Ten and all of this Connor Stallions saga and the black eye that it put on Michigan made Michigan not an attractive transfer destination for people to look to this offseason. Right. So we kind of got put in a situation where we had the players that we had in house, and it was let's try and develop these guys into the starting quarterback. And
right.
I was excited for Davis Warren. I was really jacked for him, and still absolutely love the guy. But Alex Orji, now let's see what this offense looks like, and as fans, let's expect it to not be, Jason, you're right, we need to open up the passing game, but I honestly wouldn't expect much more than 10 to 15 passes a game. Right.
But still, that's enough. That's enough. I mean, we can't run the ball all the game. They gonna stop it bro, I don't care if Mike Vick was back there, bro. If we can't pass the ball downfield, we are doomed. Like, I don't care. Like, we are doomed. Like, and it's getting scary for us. No, we haven't heard anything, and no updates have been put out.
All I saw was that it's not as serious as what the team thought.
Yeah,
it's all.
That don't mean it ain't broke. That don't mean he ain't out. It's just not as serious as we thought. Hopefully, they didn't say he was out, so you know what I'm saying. That's good news, or at least they keeping it close to the vest right now. You know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So I couldn't tell you, but when I seen him, and he took a picture with my daughters, he looked good. He looked in good spirits. He didn't look like he was hurting anywhere or anything. So, like I said, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Football players are tough, so he could have been doing that just to please us.
Yeah, it's tough. So, depending on what the injury was, there's a difference on, can you injure it worse? And then if you play too soon, right? Can you injure it worse? And
right.
If you do that, are you putting your future at risk, right? Because probably going to be a first round draft pick next year. Right. He's
to it.
Yeah. He's our best receiver. Yeah. And so you got to think about that from the long-term perspective of Colston Loveland. Right. But then the other thing is with arm injuries or shoulder injuries, if you can't hurt it worse, right? If it is what it is, can you tolerate the pain that you have to play through? So when I was in college playing football, I tore my labrum in my shoulder. And when it happened, it was such a freaking pussy play that happened in practice. It's not even exciting. I wish it was cool. Like I hit somebody hard, but it wasn't. But
Thanks for your honesty,
my,
Derek. We appreciate it.
my shoulder popped out of socket doing a special teams drill that didn't even include contact. And our trainer tugged on my shoulder and did some tests on it, and he goes, well, you tore your labrum, and you can do one of two things. You can go get an MRI on it. They're going to tell you tore your labrum, and you can have surgery on it, and it's going to take like 10 months to recover from it. Or I can order you a brace, and you can play the season. It might pop out of socket sometimes, and it might hurt. At the end of the season, then you can go get an MRI, and they're going to tell you tore your labrum, and you can have surgery on it. It's going to take like 10 months to recover. So I was like, well, let's order a brace, And granted, I was at the level of contact that I took in any football experience in my life is nothing like what Colson Loveland takes every game playing Division I football. But that's one of the factors that we don't know when it comes.
But
to,
but still, hey, you tore a labrum and you had to play with it. That's still an injury. You know what I'm saying? And back then they probably wasn't giving. You know what I'm saying? They ain't had them. I don't know what they call cortisone shirt. I'm not gonna
cortisone.
Say it, man. Yeah, there you go.
Cortisone shot.
The numbing
they
shot.
Did.
Yeah, the shot that numb you. You know what I'm saying?
They did, and I got one once, but still, I mean, my level of play, I didn't have.
Now let me ask you that: since you took one, now when they give you that, right? Do it like just numb that area?
So
or numb your whole body?
No, not your whole body. No,
Okay.
There's like this. Yeah, there's like a big needle that they just inject something into that area, and then it doesn't hurt as much.
Okay.
But cool. Let's look ahead. Let's look ahead at Big Ten. We've kind of been talking about this already. We've really been focused on the offensive side of the ball. So we've kind of talked about what we saw the first couple of games, and we talked a lot about where we need to see improvement. But defensively, remember we're still heading into Big Ten play, and we're still the 3-time defending Big Ten champs, right? 3 straight Big Ten champs. So what do we need to correct defensively to start our path this weekend? Still feels weird to call USC a conference game. What do we need to do defensively? What do we need to correct defensively to get things back on track?
Go ahead, Jason.
So, probably a decent amount. So, I mean, USC leads the Big Ten in passing, so yards per game. I mean, think about this, guys. We have a ton of talent on defense. We have a lot of impact players, and we were talking about this kind of a little bit before we went live. I know Derek and I were talking about it, but like, we have the talent on the defense. Like, I don't know. I know there needs to be execution involved, but I'm just not. Some of these schemes, I'm just not into it right now. I know we're holding teams to third down attempts, but damn, like we got to get the freaking offense back on the field. Third downs have been rough, allowing 44% completion rate. We're 108th in the freaking country. Like, we are blitzing way too much, in my opinion. Like, this feels like Don Brown's it doesn't feel like Don Brown's defense, but it almost like is somewhat similar almost. Like, Dre, I know you were kind of talking about too, Wink, he's got to get used to it. He's got to get more game time experience in college football. Like, I understand that. But this is when we were coming into this offseason, and we were talking about in our first podcast coming into week 1, this is supposed to be a copy or a manipulation of our defensive structure the last 3 years.
Yeah, they ain't supposed to be the copy. This is the original. Like this, they copied from him.
That's my point. That's my point. Like this is supposed to be the godfather of this defense with Mac, with Minter. It's looking like Don Brown's defense. Get creative, man. My God. This defense isn't supposed to miss a single beat from the past seasons. Like, we got to get this going here. We have the freaking talent. I mean, we're talking about this defense is supposed to be better than it was even last year. And that's hard to say. But it's true. We have the talent on defense. It's got to be executed. I understand that. And I trust Wink We're going to run what he wants. If they want him to blitz, they're going to blitz. Go for it. I get it. But it's just not adding up right now with certain schemes with some of these players to be put in a good position right now. And it's coaching. A lot of this is coaching. I talked about it earlier on the podcast tonight. We've not seen a Michigan defense or even an offense lack all this discipline, and these penalties are freaking killing us. Be composed, bring the fire, lay someone out, but at the same time, it's like right now I'm not into the defensive scheme. I'm not into it right now.
Now, before I answer, I'm gonna ask you this: do you think it is coaching or do you think it's youth?
There's youth there for sure. I think it's a two-way street, but I think at the same time it's also coaching, and this team needs
we only talking about defense right now. We only talking about defense right now. That's what I meant when I'm asking. I'm only talking about defense right now. I mean, if is it youth or is it coaching?
I still think it's coaching. I think we are blitzing way too much. 44% of third down completions from the last 3 games that Michigan has given up. 108th in the country. That is not characteristic of a Michigan defense at all. 44%. Like I said, we're getting there. We're getting there, third and long or whatever, and then we either have a penalty or we make a mistake, but it's got to get cleaned up. It is coaching. It's got to get cleaned up. This is still a very stacked defense. We got 2 line. I mean, Ernest Hausman, we don't talk enough about him, but I mean, the guy had 7 tackles last week too. Barnham is still there. Our secondary is supposed to be pretty stout as well too, and obviously our defensive line, I still think is the best in the country. But this is coaching. This is 100% coaching, in my opinion, on the defensive side of the ball. I don't like the schemes at times. And I could be speaking a different tune. We could be 3-0 and all these blitzes, all these packages could be working right now, but I'm not. Right? This is coaching.
All right.
Yeah, I think there's merit to what you're saying. I think Dre, I'll answer your question too. I think it's a combination of both. I think that there are execution errors. I don't necessarily know if it's youth as much as just some execution errors. That there is some youth. I think we're seeing that we don't have the depth that we had last year. Last year we were able to rotate too deep, pretty strong, and that really helped out. I think we're seeing maybe some pains on some of the guys that we did lose. We did a great job of retaining the roster, which is something that I'll probably touch on again a little bit deeper later now that I just brought it up. But we did a good job retaining our roster. But if you think about it, we had DJ Waller leave, we had Keon Sabb leave, and then with the Rod Moore injury, I mean, those are 3 huge depth pieces that would have been major contributors in the secondary.
I think it would have been Keon Sabb and Rod Moore back there, to be honest.
Yeah,
that would have been
absolutely.
And
Zeke Berry's played great. I think that if we're looking for a unsung hero type bright spot that's not getting a ton of love, I think Zeke Berry has been consistent and consistently in the right spot and consistently not getting beat in the secondary. I think he's played really good. I'm very happy with his performance, but I think there's a happy medium of we're seeing mistakes by coaching. When there's continued execution errors, I feel like that's got to be where it goes. I feel like the finger has to go to what is the coaching staff on defense doing to correct those errors, and what are the play calls doing to put Michigan in the best position to be successful. Right. But Dre, I'm curious to hear you elaborate on your thoughts, especially defensively, where we need the biggest improvement to get on track.
I think it's our defensive line. I think Mason and them is good, and I think our outside is good, but I think our rotation, the second players that's coming in, they got to step it up. It seems like when they came, Mason and Kenneth can't get a rest. Like we need them to get a rest. We need them to be more fresh than possible. Our linebackers, I think is like again. I'm going back with Jason with this one, but our linebackers, they've been in position, but they ain't been in good position. So I'm gonna put that on coaching. Jair Hill, I think I'm saying his name right. Jair. I don't want to mess it up. But he got a tackle. He can't be getting abused in open space, Brody. You know what I'm saying? You got to tackle. You know what I'm saying? That no ifs, ands, or maybes about it. You know what I'm saying? Our whole secondary, like I said, I'm gonna put it on youth and inexperience. I'm not even going coaching. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, coaching puts you in the right position, but if you ain't been out here tackling, and if you ain't been out here having to make decisions on the fly and stuff like that, you know what I'm saying? I could put you in front of something and you gonna miss it. You know what I'm saying? If you ain't never know what, you know what I'm saying, what you're looking for. So I think that's where a lot of the confusion is coming from. I think if Rob Moore would have been back there, even with Keon Sabb gone, I think he would have played the quarterback on defense. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's what we're really missing, like a quarterback, like a person, even though Hausman, you know what I'm saying, he gets the plays and all of that, but he's not our quarterback. You know what I'm saying? He only been, what is his second year? If like I said, if Rob Moore would have been back there, he would have been quarterbacking this whole thing. And I don't think we would have been having all of these mishaps that we have. I could be wrong, you know what I'm saying? But that's just my opinion again. But I think it's a lot of things we need to fix. I think we need to start getting more pressure. But again, that comes from coaching. But come from coaching and the boys, though. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna put it all on coaching. That's it. Like, you know what I'm saying? We can't make these mistakes, these bonehead penalties, missing assignments. Like if we can be a well-oiled machine on defense and get a little depth from our from the second boys, we'll be all right. I think I don't think really nothing wrong with it. I just think, like I said, it's all inexperience. If we can just keep getting better and keep getting more snaps, I think we gonna get better as the year go on.
Yeah.
Because like I said, and they was really doing their thing last game. You know what I'm saying? It's just when they bring in the second squad, that's when the 14 points happened. So
yeah. And you know, I think you're right on some of those things. I agree with you, Dre, on the fact that we need to get more pressure, and that you know, there's players that need to make plays when they're in positions to make plays, right? That's a big thing, and we don't have Mikey Sanders still was a quarterback of the defense last year, right? We don't have that presence on the field so far this year. You know, but to elaborate on a couple other things that you guys were talking about. Right. I think that it's from a coaching perspective, you know, to put a little bit of blame on Wink. There are times to be conservative and times to be aggressive. And I think the issue with blitzing is that it just seems untimely and we're not getting home with it. Right. We don't have very many sacks. So if we're going to blitz, we better get some sacks and affect the play. We better get some pressure, because what's happening is we're putting our guys in man coverage positions there and we're not getting home. And right now, Will Johnson's really the only person on the field that I trust to be in man coverage, and maybe Zeke Berry. I don't know that Jair Hill actually has looked decent there. It's the zone coverages where
I don't understand why they haven't flopped him out for Zeke yet. I don't understand. Maybe that's not Zeke's position, but I think Zeke needs to go ahead and just be our secondary corner, and then they have Quentin Johnson and McBurrows playing Zeke's spot.
It can be tough, and actually Jair Hill is going to be a great player because he's young.
For sure. He's just young.
He will be.
He's just young. That's it.
He's only a sophomore. But you know, he did get pulled for a little bit. He did get pulled, and Amir Hall came in and played a handful of series after. I can't remember if it was after he missed a tackle or after he blew an assignment, but he made a mistake and he came out of the game. And that's kind of what it's got to be. But I think it's a mix of everything. I think that the key factor on defense is just staying on assignment and making plays when plays are to be made. And, if we have them 3rd and long, right, we don't need to dial up a blitz on 3rd and long. Let's just not give up the first down, right? Let's not dial up a blitz on 3rd and 12 and give up a 15-yard pass. Let's drop back in a zone. Let's let them have an 8-yard pass and get to 4th down, because that's the biggest thing. Jason, you shared the stats. I don't remember if this was a Michigan game or a different football game that I was watching this weekend. I think it was a Michigan game. The announcers hit it right on the head when they called 3rd downs possession downs, right? Because that's what they are, is for the most part.
Yeah, for sure.
Whoever wins 3rd down gets the ball, right? And last year we dominated that on both sides of the ball. We won 3rd down offensively and we won 3rd down defensively. So we got the ball and we got to keep the ball. And that's why we boa constricted people last year, is because we were converting a very, very high rate of 3rd downs, and we weren't giving up 3rd down conversions. Right. So that's got to change. That the biggest factor is when we get to 3rd and long, we got to get off the field.
Yeah, and give the offense
and we created a lot of turnovers last year too. So we need to get back on the creating turnovers. We created a lot of turnovers last year.
Yeah. And I thought that was the recipe this year against Fresno State when we started the season with an interception and then a creative touchdown drive right after that. I was like, hell yeah.
Right.
Let's go.
It seems like Wink's MO is just, Joe Glatt kind of talked about Wink as well too. It's like, and gave some stats out there. It's like, I think last year we blitzed like 29% of the time. Is this a trust factor? Like, what is it? But it's like, Wink, you were asked about Don Brown. Are you similar to Don Brown? No, I'm not. Like, I don't know, man. Like, this is your MO right now. Clean this shit up.
Maybe, like I said, maybe he just felt like that was the game plan for these 3 weeks. You know what I'm saying? Maybe I don't know, man. I don't know. It just seemed like we don't know.
I don't know. Yeah, I'm not sure either.
I don't know. But, man. I ain't never in my Michigan life felt like this as a Michigan fan. Well, I probably did. I can't remember how I felt in Rich Rodriguez days and Brady Hope days. You know what I'm saying?
We're not going to talk about. Yeah, we're not going there yet.
Exactly.
But like it's. Like I said. Early. There's a lot of pieces yet. It's a new coaching staff to a point. Different players and different schemes, but it's like defensively on that side of the ball. It's you got to cut out the blitzes. In my opinion, it's got to be something different. Got to throw a different package out there or something, because it's getting a little too predictable.
I know one thing: we can't be over blitzing USC. Because if that's the case, they're gonna be Dylan Moss gonna be throwing the ball all over the field, and that ain't gonna be good.
Yeah, I think we'll still get ours. We'll throw some different packages out there, but it's just something's got to give here, and Wink needs to get a little more creative.
I feel like for us to win this game, we're gonna have to jump out on them. We're gonna have to jump out on them quick. Mm-hmm. Like we're gonna really have to jump out on them.
Yep. So let me ask you guys this though. Now that we're jumping to the USC game, are you guys ready for an orgy in the big house this weekend?
Yes, sir.
Always ready for an orgy.
Yes, sir.
Good.
Yes, sir.
So look, Dre, I think you're right though, right? To make sure that we don't, and Brett, I don't know if you saw the comment that Brett put up here. The one thing we can't do is let USC come in and do what Texas did and bust us in the mouth. That can't happen Saturday.
Yeah,
I agree.
Exactly.
And so I think
they didn't take
USC
over our
has some
stadium.
weapons. Right. They can't. Yeah, absolutely. But USC has some weapons, right? Miller Moss is a good quarterback. Their offense, they've only played 2 games, but their offense looked pretty dang good in both of those games. And I would not be one bit surprised if they try and just replicate the Texas game plan. Stay away from Mason Graham and Kenneth Grant when they're on the field. Stay away from Will Johnson, and challenge the secondary and the linebackers to make plays. And when Kenneth Grant and Mason Graham come off the field, hey, guess what? Now we're running the ball.
Running the ball. Yep.
I would not be one bit surprised. But I think what we need to do, and this is why I'm kind of excited about the Alex Orji thing, is we're going to see a different offense than what we've seen. And like I said, I wouldn't expect it to be an explosive passing game by any means, but it's going to be a challenge for USC defensively to game plan for this week because now they know that they're game planning for not just a series of Alex Orji where they can fully commit to stopping the run, but an entire game. And we talked earlier about how we need to see the offensive line create a little more space for our backs. Well, when we have a threat of the quarterback keeping the ball consistently every time that we're handing the ball off to Donovan Edwards or Khalil Mullins, that's going to make the linebackers in the secondary hesitate. Even if they're committed to stopping the run, it's going to hold them up a little bit. So I think if we can be effective enough in the passing game to not be a full-on service academy, I think that. I think we'll be okay. I think that we can control the clock. That's what I think we need to do. I think we need to be able to be effective, move the chains, be methodical, and control the clock. Keep our defense off the field. That's what killed us against Texas. Is our defense couldn't get off the field, and our offense couldn't keep them off the field early in the game.
Our coordinators gotta give Alex Orji some quick little easy plays to build his confidence. Quick little easy throws to build his confidence is what I meant. Like we know you can run, man. We need your confidence up in passing.
You know what? I actually don't want the quick easy throws. I want to say USC's defense is going to commit to stopping the run. Let's try it. Let's go over the top on them.
It's going to be every single game because we have no trust in our quarterbacks.
Right. Let's pull them back.
Exactly going to be every single game.
Even if we don't complete it, let's make those safeties think about it, right? Let's make those corners think about it, even if it's an incompletion. I would rather see some shots 10, 15, 20 yards downfield than the 2 to 3 yard passes that we've seen a lot this season to just put that thought in the secondary's head, right? I better not let I got to stop the run. I know they're going to run, but I can't get beat deep.
Right.
Take a risk. Let them throw the damn ball.
I say the same thing. Let them throw it.
Yeah, let it rip. Maybe that's the piece. Maybe he's got that deep ball arm that he can fire. Maybe it's the short to intermediate routes where those are the passes that he struggles with. But let her rip. Don't think about it. Let her rip and see what happens. But what do you guys? What do you guys think we're gonna see? What do you think we need to see? What do you think we need to see in order to start out 1-0 in Big Ten conference play and to just remind the college football world that we're still here?
I already said what I had to say about defense, basically. But on the offensive side of the ball, I like Orji as quarterback. He can move the chains, but can he move the chains with passing the ball? And that's what I want to see consistently.
The only thing we need to see.
Yeah, he's physical. He's a big freaking dude. He's probably one of the strongest running back. He runs a lot, but he's probably one of the strongest quarterbacks in the nation. But physicality wise, he's built. And if he can pass the ball, boys, we might see a completely different offense. We might see a completely different scheme, completely different offensive playbook. But I like his confidence a little bit better too. And that's just going to get built and I agree with Dre. I like those checkdowns from the beginning.
Yeah, not even check downs, just something easy. You know what I'm saying? Something easy.
I know. I get what you're saying, but even if it's just something small as a check down to somewhat get the running game going, and then throwing a couple shots deep is basically what I want to see. We saw in the Arkansas State game. He's got arm strength. It's there, and he's more athletic as well too than Davis Warren. But I'm excited to kind of see our offensive scheme with Alex Orji full time right now, and we haven't seen it all year. We were going into the off season. This was our guy. Alex Orji was the starting quarterback, and then all of a sudden, Davis Warren comes in. And yeah, we saw some glimpses of Alex maybe not throwing the greatest ball, but give the guy a freaking chance.
You wouldn't throw the greatest ball either if you had no rhythm. I couldn't do that for no rhythm.
That's why I hate the freaking two quarterback. Like, oh, we don't understand like where a quarterback's going to be. Like, yeah, it's like they can't get into freaking rhythm. They can't get into rhythm at all. Like, so make USC guess. The offense for me, I mean, obviously it's been a little bit predictable. I mean, we talked a little bit about it earlier in the pod and then offline a little bit as well, but we're not throwing over the top here, boys. Like, they're stacking the box per usual. Derek, you just mentioned it. Teams are going to do that. What's Michigan known for? Controlling the game and running the ball. But the opposition, I mean, right now with our two quarterbacks, we're not taking any risks. Our coaching staff is pretty much telling the nation that they just do not trust our quarterbacks. And I get that to a point to throw the ball downfield, but take a fucking risk, right? Those defenders right now, they're playing the run and they're playing – short routes right now, like a stage 5 clinger. Okay, like come on, come on.
I agree.
Like so, Alex Orji, like
that boy down the field.
Yeah, absolutely. Like Orji needs to respond. Let's get him some short routes. Let's see if we can run the ball successfully. But damn, there's got to be a point where it's like, can we get a little bit creative here and get some trust in some of in Davis Warner, Alex Orji, and throw the damn ball down freaking field?
That's what I was saying, bro. That's what I was saying earlier, bro. I mean, our offense last year was so creative.
We're not. I mean, and that comes back to my point of like we don't. The coaching staff is showing the country that we just don't have confidence in our quarterbacks. And you know what? I get it, maybe. But at the same time, you gotta throw the ball down the field. Take some shots down deep. Like it's just we gotta let Orji play his game. We're gonna have an offensive scheme for him. If he finds consistency in passing, like I said, we're gonna see a whole new offense. But we got to be able to sustain these drives without these penalties as well too. Like I want to see more possession time. But like right now, from what I'm seeing from the last 3 games, is I'm not seeing our opposition on defense. They're not on their tippy toes right now. They know what's coming. It is extremely predictable. We don't have trust in our quarterbacks. What are we going to do? If it's 3rd and whatever, we're going to throw. I mean, like I said, I feel like I'm watching McCarthy with the Packers. I said that on the last pod. It's run, pass. It's like, okay, let's get at least to like 3rd and whatever. It's 3rd and 5. We're gonna throw like something to a flat or a curl or something. Basically, we're gonna throw a short route, right, or a crossing route or something, 5-yard crossing route, and then we're gonna run the ball again. It's like it's too predictable for me. We gotta throw some trust in these guys. We gotta be able to throw the ball downfield, and we're gonna have to do it successfully, or this is gonna be a long ass season. But this offensive play calling, I'm not up for it. You got to start getting fucking creative. It's getting real old. The first 3 weeks I've kind of seen enough. Let them throw the damn ball downfield because these defenders, the secondary, what are they doing? They're playing the run and they're playing a short passing route. That's all it is. It's not hard to be a defensive coordinator right now coming into week 4 and figure out what Michigan is going to do. We don't trust our quarterbacks enough. Take a risk because we have no choice. Let's play some damn football. And then with the passing game, if we get a couple shots down deep or at least somewhat of like a decent drive, let's get the running game. We opened up the running game then. We can see the Don. We can see Mullins. We can get more creative. But it's too conservative for me, and and as a fan, I'm not about it. It's way too conservative for me. Let's get going.
So you know what I want to see, and I think we will. I think we will see a lot of this, or at least I hope. And it's not going to be sexy by standard college football offensive characteristics, right? What we need to see, but I'm going to find it sexy. I want to see a lot of Orji, Mullins, and Donovan Edwards on the field at the same time, and I want to see creativity with Edwards. I want Edwards to kind of be able to have that like Deebo Samuel wide back type role where he's on the field and sometimes he's lined up in the slot, right? Sometimes he's lined up in the backfield and gets a one-on-one matchup with a linebacker, and sometimes he's lined up and he's running the ball as a running back. You know, I want to see some.
Cole. That'll open it up for Cole a lot.
right? That's what
It's
I
just
think we will
another
see some
mix, right?
packages,
It's just
but
another piece they have to worry about.
Yeah, that'll open it up for
Absolutely.
Cole or not.
but if you're talking about getting your best skill players on the field as much as possible, and you're looking at Alex Orji, who's been talked about for now two straight years as this big time athlete, right? Jim Harbaugh is talking about having him return kicks, like finding a way to get this guy on the field because he's such a good athlete. So if he's the starting quarterback now, let's dial up some packages that take advantage of that athleticism. And again, it might not be sexy because guess what? When we have Khalil Mullins and Alex Orji and Donovan Edwards on the field at the same time, guess what we're probably doing 70 to 80% of the time? Running the football. but that's going to be something that should be challenging for the defense. And I think back to the Notre Dame game. I think it was 2018 or 2019, the rain game. Remember where we just ran the ball all game long. Yeah. All game long. And we absolutely, we surprised a lot of people with how we dominated that game. I want to see that.
Shea Patterson.
What game are you talking about?
Mikey Sainristil was a freshman receiver at that point. I mean, he had a touchdown.
Yes,
that game. I can get a touchdown.
I remember, number 19. I remember the Notre Dame game too.
Yes, sir. Yeah, that's what we talking about.
That's what, the rain game where we just ran and ran.
Yep.
But Notre Dame wanted to play tougher competition.
Right. and
we'll see you in 2033 unless we see him in a bowl game or a playoff. But that's the next regular season game against them.
All right, so let's hear it, guys. What are your predictions? Score predictions. Jason, you go first.
27-21 Michigan. Football fan. Football score.
27-21. All right, Dre.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, what's so crazy? I got it the same way.
27-21.
Really?
Yep.
Well, Derek, I think you were telling me last week that it was 27-21 this game too. So.
No, I'm going to go a little bit different. I think a little bit lower scoring. I think that our defense does step up and slows down USC's offense. I think our offense controls the clock a little bit. So just so everyone that's listening knows, we're never going to pick against Michigan.
Ever.
Yeah. So our predictions
against those bitches Michigan. Down south either too. I don't care that it's 19.5 spurt. Yep.
I don't give a damn if they was playing an NFL team. Ever. Ever.
So
the score's gonna be a little bit closer, Dre, but yeah, I agree with you, dude.
I'm gonna go with a game that has a lot of field goals and not very many touchdowns, and I'm gonna go 19-13 Michigan.
Ooh, okay.
Love it.
Oh, that's a good score.
Oh,
it's a good score.
Cool if one of us is right. So.
We last year we were close a couple times. I think we
only got two. We had two choices at this. It's either gonna be 27-21 or it's gonna be 19. What you say, 19-13?
Yeah.
Yeah, 19-13. All right. Well, we got one more comment here. That game was so much fun. I was hoping it was worth it. The Notre Dame game.
Mm-hmm. It was sick.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And we appreciate everyone's comments too. So Sue, Zach, Brett,
man.
Appreciate everyone.
Appreciate y'all even tuning in.
Yeah,
I know we kept y'all up.
Kept
our longest pod. So definitely, it's night and day from last year, right? There's a lot more to talk about.
For sure.
Right. Well, think about it. That we started this podcast last year. And so the Texas game was this is the first time that as podcasters, we're facing adversity, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
last year we was riding on the high last year, baby.
Right.
Yep.
Talking shit to other podcasts and all.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and they had nothing to say to us except for, but you guys stole our signs, right?
Yeah. Couldn't say nothing. But some bullshit. No,
it's that's like another point too. It's like if you think sign stealing has any outcome of the game, I mean, the NCAA said it themselves that it wouldn't in 2021. I'm kind of concerned about why they're even podcasting and talking about football. They probably shut it down, boys. Oof.
Absolutely. So
real.
All Ohio State podcasts and Michigan State podcasts, we're talking to you because you're the ones that talk about that.
Yeah, we definitely got to do a podcast with what was it, the Bacon Wire? We definitely got to bring them back on. I want to talk. Oh man, I want to start talking shit.
49 to nothing, but you hid your signs the first half of the game, but yet we stole signs. Like you guys are.
If I remember correctly, I'm pretty sure that their cameras were conveniently not working
off.
for that.
Yeah,
podcast.
It was Michigan State. Like one guy, his camera was off.
Love you, Miss Sue.
It might be Bro Ohio. He might be doubling up.
I wish we could find out who he was. I'll bring him on. I love it. Oh, I love that.
Well, I mean, we're gonna get into it, but like at the same time, like the NCAA won't give or give anything of like how they obtained evidence or whatever. So this is just all bullshit. So that's a huge red flag as well too. So it's like
they don't want to give it up.
We want to keep our rivals.
Who they got it from. They don't want to do that.
Yeah,
it's gonna be a big shitstorm. They'd be like, "Oh yeah, we got it from
Ohio
State."
That's the thing. What? That's why they're gonna have to be lenient with this shit because they know other teams are doing it. They know what the president said after we won the ship. They know what they said in 2021 while this wouldn't impact games. So the fact that they can't say who they obtained the evidence from, there's a shitstorm coming, going to court, and they don't want that storm. So good luck.
Hey,
you guys don't have
my man who was his lawyer, he was like a pit bull too. He was not playing.
Good. He's good. I mean, that's good. He should be like that. I mean, just a trash organization to tell you the truth.
We're gonna win this weekend though. That's the only thing that matters.
Yep.
We're gonna win this weekend.
Yep.
And we still gonna have some people complaining.
I mean, honestly, like, we could be up 106 to nothing.
Oh yeah.
Something to bitch about, like for him.
The boy Brett was about to get put out and banned from the big house on Saturday. Shout out, my boy Brett, man. He had a shirt with the middle finger and say "Steal these signs," and they wasn't trying to let him in. And my boy went ape. He went ape on him, dog. I had to tell him, man, chill out, man. Turn the shirt around, man. Just turn it inside out till you get in here.
Is that
man.
like wasn't Brett the one that almost got into a fight last week too? Or like
my boy be on it.
Oh my
That's
God,
my boy. You my boy, Brett. Hey, no, for facts. Like last week, facts. Oh no, it was Texas week. Texas week, and the dude came into our tailgate with a Quentin Ewers Ohio State jersey on, and Brett went fucking nuts. I mean nuts. I'm like, oh, but it's all love, man. We hate Ohio State. He was trying to be a troll. He got everything. He got everything he was looking for. I mean.
Yeah. Well. I mean, there's more shit talking to come for sure. I mean, one more thing. Like I saw a post with an Ohio State fan. I'm not gonna get into it, but like, kind of like how our season's kind of going right now, which isn't bad right now, but like how we're playing right now, compared to like 9/11. Ohio State, you guys are shit fans. Fuck you. You guys are shit. Like, seriously, toxic, evil fucking fan base when I saw that post. Not all you guys are like that, but you guys are absolutely garbage for that post. And then the people laughing at it after, too. Fuck you. So, go ahead, Derek. Nope. I'll show it to you guys after.
Yeah, I don't be worried about posts. I'm just worried about it in November.
I don't either, but like that one pissed me off. Pissed me off.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Fort Pete telling Ryan goodbye.
That's what it's going to be all about. But Big Ten plays here. Every single goal that Michigan came into the season with, except
right
for
in front of them,
is still in front of us. So let's go get it. Dre, you want to sign us off?
Love one another, respect one another, and always go blue.
Go blue.
Go blue.